Alright, here we are, ladies and gentlemen, the final archetype analysis of this season. And this time around it's an Arc 5 archetype. And yeah, it's a synchro spammer, so yeah, we're finally getting away from those XC spammers we reviewed all this time. And they were used by Hugo, which is the third U-boy we are taking a look at on this series. So yeah, he's my third favorite U-boy. Yeah, I even like him more than the main protagonist, Yuya. But anyway, he has a synchro spam archetype and a really good one at that point. So yeah, let's get on with it and start with our first monster, which is Speedroid Gumprize. It's a level 1 wind machine with 0 attack and 800 defense, and it's a tuner as well. During the battle phase, if you take battle or effect damage, you can special summon this card from your hand. During either player's battle phase in which this card was special summoned by its effect, you can immediately after this card resolves, synchro summon one synchro monster using only wind monsters you control, including this card. If this card is sent to the graveyard as a synchro material, you can send the top card of your deck to the graveyard, and if the sent card was a Speedroid monster, the synchro monster that used this card as a synchro material gains 1000 attack. A gimmicky urgent tuning at best, because yeah, but it's also searchable by one for one. That is always appreciated. And yeah, like I said, it's a gimmicky urgent tuning with its effect, and the requirement of having a Speedroid monster on the top of your deck in order to trigger its effect for a measly 1000 attack boost, which most Speedroid monsters or any synchro monster you summon with this can live without, because the anime effect actually was a bit different. The anime effect of this was that when you send the monster to the graveyard, you give the attack boost equal to the attack points of the monster you sent to the graveyard. So yeah, I do not know. They kept it at 1000 attack because in the anime, this Yugo used this card against Apollo to boost Crystal Wing, which is their later card. To 4000 attack because he sent Ohaji Kid, which is their other card which we'll look at, to the graveyard. So yeah, it's a gimmicky urgent tuning at best, but I'd say run it if you feel like it, because there are better level 1s coming up right now. One of those being Speedroid Malicious Magnet, another tuner with 0 attack and defense, and cannot be used as a synchro material except for a synchro summon by its own effect. During your main phase, if this card was normal or special summoned, you can target one face-up monster your opponent controls. Immediately after this card effect resolves, synchro summon one wind synchro monster using only this card you control and that monster. You can only use the effect of Speedroid Malicious Magnet once per turn. Well, if you for the first glance, this seems like a unique gimmicky way to get rid of problematic monsters. However, it's limited only to wind monsters. However, this archetype is full of wind monsters, as you can see. Meaning you won't be fetching yourself an easy Catastore if you're using it on level 4s, which you'll most likely be using it that way. But yeah, this archetype has 2 level 5s, and one of them is a definite staple, which we'll get into later. I'd say run 1 if you feel like it, because most monsters you will want to get rid of with this effect will be some higher level monsters, and wind monsters are not present in higher level synchro monsters. So yeah, a gimmick card if I ever saw one, but it's a good one, so I'm gonna cut it some slack. But the best one of the best tuners of all time, and the best tuner in the archetype is definitely Speedroid Red-Eyed Dice. A level 1 with 100 attack and defense, and when this card is normal or special summoned, you can target one Speedroid monster you control, except itself, declare a level from 1 to 6, and its level becomes that level until the end phase of this turn. An archetypal level switching, which works in a really huge abundance of levels, like from 1 to 6. So meaning you can make yourself a Formula Synchron or Tatsunoko, or their level 4 monster, or I don't know. The possibilities are endless. The highest The highest level you can synchro summon with this by using its effect is level 7, so yeah. It's a shame that you can't summon level 8 monsters, so yeah. But that would render the card a bit too good. It would probably be semi-limited because of it. I can feel it. But anyway, run 3 at all times in any Speedroid build. And that were all the level 1s, they're all tuners. And the first one is their level 3 Speedroid Daiko Duke. And it's a level 3 with 1000 attack and defense, and you can banish this card from your graveyard to special summon one Speedroid tuner monster from your hand or graveyard except itself. You can only use this effect once per turn. So it's a quick revival effect, and I always love it, but it's not a during either player's turn effect, so I mean, you're not going to use this on the opponent's turn, so yeah, I'm just pointing this out, but you can actually fetch yourself an easy tuner with this, and yeah, run 2, and because it can be really useful at times. Their next level 3 is their first non-tuner, and that is the earlier mentioned Speedroid Ohaji Kid. And when this card is normal summoned, you can target one tuner monster in either player's graveyard, special summon it to your side of the field, and if you do, immediately after this card resolves, synchro summon one wind synchro monster using that monster and this card only. So yeah, this is one of their monsters whose effect is strictly activated upon normal summoning. And I like the effect how it fetches a tuner from either player's graveyard, which is really appreciated. And yeah, it's again limited to wind monsters, so yeah, that's kind of a bummer here. But I'd run 1 or 2 of these because yeah, the fetch pool for this thing is not that great, to be honest, at least for me. But yeah. Next up is Speedroid Terrortop, a really good one because it's limited. If you control no monsters, you can special summon this card from your hand. When this card is normal or special summoned, you can add one Speedroid monster from your deck to your hand, except Speedroid Terrortop. You can only use the effect of Speedroid Terrortop once per turn. Yes, this is real. This is searching upon special summoning, if your field is clear, that is. This card is limited because it can search the entire archetype, and there is a certain other level 3 which benefits highly from being searched by this. So yeah, I definitely recommend running this, and yeah, it can also enable rank 3 plays with that level 3, which we're going to take a look at later. So yeah, definitely run this one, I tell you. Their next one, level 3, is Speedroid Triad Dice. A level 3 with 300 attack and 1500 defense, and during your opponent's turn, you can banish this card from your graveyard, negate the next attack on this turn from a monster your opponent controls, and it's a quick effect. So a better Necro Garden, I'd say. Better in terms because it's a tuner and it can be easily fetched with a lot of stuff, so yeah. And this completely replaces Necro Garden if you were ever planning on running it for whatever reason in Speedroid builds. So yeah, it's also an excellent target for a Foolish Burial, so I'd say definitely run this one. Their next level 3 is the one that mostly benefits by Terrortop, that being Speedroid Takitenborg. If you control a wind monster, you can special summon this card from your hand. You can tribute this card, special summon one Speedroid tuner monster from your deck. Also, you cannot special summon monsters for the rest of this turn except wind monsters. You can only special summon Speedroid Takitenborg once per turn. So yeah, this effect is quite badass. The special summoning condition is really nice because it can enable a link monster with the proper setup. Even a Trishula if you have Daiko Duke or Triad Dice in your hand. So yeah, running this at 3 is always wanted in any Speedroid build. Well, by the way, it has reverse stats of Terrortop, which is pretty funny to me. So yeah, I'd say always run 3 and never any less. Their next is their first level 4, which is Speedroid Double Yo-Yo. And when this card is normal summoned, you can target one level 3 or lower Speedroid monster in your graveyard, special summon it. The idea behind this is to get into their boss monster, one of their boss monsters, their level 7 boss monster, and yeah, This is their, I think this is their final Speedroid that gets its effect pulled off one normal summoning. So yeah, we're not gonna be seeing that, but I'd say run one or two of these if you feel like it. Their next is Speedroid Horse Stilts. When this card is normal summoned, here we go again. You can special summon one level 4 or lower Speedroid monster from your hand during your main phase. Except this turn card was sent to the graveyard. You can banish this card from your graveyard, send one wind monster from your deck to the graveyard. You can only use the effect of Speedroid Horse Stilts once per turn. So this translates into an easy level 8 or level 7 synchro. And yeah, it's and you can banish it to get a foolish burial effect, so neat. The optimal number I can think about when running this is 2 of these. Any more would be clogging up your hand or anything. And their next monster is Speedroid Menko. Oh my god, if the E was an A, the Konami would be in some serious trouble. When an opponent's monster declares a direct attack while this card is in your hand, you can special summon this card in attack position, and if you do, change all face-up monsters your opponent controls to defense position. A quick play, no entry effect is nice, and yeah, decent protection if you're in a pickle. So yeah, I'd say run 1 or 2 of these just for the flavor. Their next monster is Speedroid Pachinko card. And once per turn you can discard one machine type monster and target one monster on the field, destroy it. Okay, targeting removal. Where the hell did this come from? Yeah, the Speedroids have some monsters that benefit being in the graveyard, but they don't tend to produce much discard fodder. Plus it's targeting removal, so but still run 1 if you feel like it. Their next monster is even a worse level 4. Speedroid Razorang. Cannot attack the turn it is normal summoned. Once per turn you can target one face-up monster on the field, change this card to defense position. If you do, that target loses 800 attack until the end of this turn. What the hell is this supposed to be? Scratching it for 800 and switching this to defense position so it can curb stomp it later? Ignore this. I don't want to waste more time against this. Ignore this, just do yourself a favor and ignore this. Their next monster is Speedroid Rubber Band Plane, a level 5, so yeah, it's their first tribute monster. If a monster is special summoned to your field, except during the damage step, you can special summon this card from your hand. Also, you cannot special summon monsters from the rest of its turn except wind monsters. You can only use the effect of Speedroid Rubber Band Plane once per turn. If this card is normal special summon, you can target one face-up monster on the field that loses 600 attack until the end of this turn. The idea behind this was supposedly using this with their later Pendulum monsters, and that's about it. Scratching it for 600 makes it about as worth running as Razorang, so I'd say ignore this one. Their first 2 tribute monster and their final effect monster is Speedroid Skull Marbles, a level 7 with 0 attack and 3000 defense. And once per turn during the standby phase, if your opponent controls a face-up monster that was special summoned from the extra deck, you can special summon this card from your hand. Cannot be destroyed by battle with a normal summoned set monster. Your opponent takes any battle damage you would have taken from battles involving this card. You can only use this effect of Speedroid Skull Marbles once per turn. If you control a face-up monster that is not a Speedroid monster, destroy this card. Well, unless you have Vanity's Emptiness, the protection from this card is absolutely bizarre. No, I'm serious. No one in their right mind is going to get rid of this by battle, and especially not with a normal summoned or set monster. Well, set monster? Really? How is a set monster going to attack you? Well, Konami's logic apparently. And yeah, why the hell the Burning Abyss destruction effect at the end of the and if you do not control a non-Speedroid non-Speedroid monster, I don't know. I do not know what the hell to say with this. And the special summoning condition is neat because I don't know. your opponent is probably gonna have some a link monster or something out on the field already. So, but in general, don't run this. It's just not worth it. Their first Pendulum monsters, their level 2 Speedroid Domino Butterfly. It's a scale 8, and its pendulum effect is you cannot pendulum summon monsters except wind monsters. This effect cannot be cannot be negated. You can discard one wind monster, then target one of your banished wind monsters, add it to your hand. You can only use this effect of Speedroid Domino Butterfly once per turn. Unlike Pachinko card, the discard effect actually pays off here. But let's take a look at the monster effect. It's a tuner actually, so yeah, they're only the level 2 tuner. Cannot be used as a synchro material except for the synchro summon of a winged dragon or machine type synchro monster. If this card is special summoned from the extra deck is used as a material for a synchro summon, banish it. What the hell with the banishing effect? The key of pendulum summoning is supposed to be resummoning them consistently to produce field swarm, not banishing upon single use. But yeah, the pendulum effect is entirely outclasses the monster effects. Yeah, use this for the pendulum effect. And their last main deck and their final pendulum monster is Speedroid Passing Glider. There are other level 5. It's a scale 3. And once per turn you can send one Speedroid tuner monster from your hand or face up from your field to the graveyard, increase or reduce minimally 1. Discards pendulum scale by the original level of the sent monster until the end of this turn. Okay, interesting. Monster effect. If there are no monsters on the field, you can special summon discard from your hand. You can only special summon Speedroid Passing Glider once per turn this way. When this card is tribute summoned, you can target one level 4 or lower Speedroid monster in your graveyard, special summon it. Your opponent's monsters cannot target Speedroid monsters for attack except this one. Protection is admirable, but not really needed. However, yeah, this pendulum effect can be used to make this card's pendulum scale become 0 if you're dumping Triad dice. So yeah, you can easily summon Gunprize or Malicious Magnet or Red-Eye dice even. So yeah, it's an okay card. Nothing else to say here. Alright, moving on to their extra deck monsters, I mean their synchro monsters. First up being High Speedroid Puzzle. A level 4 requires one tuner and one or more non-tuner monsters, so it's generic. At the start of the damage step, if this card battles a special summon monster, you can make this card's attack become double its current attack until the end of the damage step. Once per turn during the end phase, if this card is in the graveyard because this synchro summoned card was sent there from the field this turn, you can target one Speedroid monster in your graveyard that accepts High Speedroid Puzzle, add it to your hand. So yeah, this kind of card has a nice recovery, so it can actually recover your synchros as well, other synchros I mean. And yeah, the attack doubling boost is admirable if you want to get over something but unproblematic, but you won't be using this to get rid of it, so yeah. However, the next monster is one of those you might be familiar with because it's a definite staple in in most of the synchro decks, and that is High Speedroid Chanbara. Also generic level 5 with 2000 attack and 1000 defense, and this card can make a second attack during each battle phase. At the start of the damage step, if this card battles, it gains 200 attack. If this card is sent to the graveyard, you can target one of your banished Speedroid cards, add it to your hand. You can only special summon High Speedroid Chanbara once per turn. The ability to fetch any piece of your banished archetypes is really nice. And yeah, this is a staple for solo reason because it can attack twice and each time it battles it gets stronger. An awesome card, nothing else to say here. Their other level 5 is High Speedroid Hagoita. Another level 5 with the same stats, with the same summoning condition, and during either player's turn you can tribute this card to increase the levels of all monsters currently on the field by 1. Until the end of this turn, if this card is in your graveyard and you control a Speedroid tuner monster, you can special summon this card. Also, you cannot special summon monsters for the rest of this turn except wind monsters. You can only use the effect of High Speedroid Hagoita once per turn. Yeah, this effect can be used kind of like to avoid targeting and such, it is rarely used for its purpose to increase the levels of other cards. But yeah, if you control a level 3 tuner monster and you resummon this, you can go into one of their other cards, their best boss monster, which is a definite staple in all synchro decks. So yeah, running this at 2 is really acceptable. Their level 6 is High Speedroid Kendama. It's a level 6 with 2200 attack, and it also requires one tuner or one or more non-tuner monsters. And if this card attacks a defense position monster, inflict piercing damage to your opponent. You can only use each of the following effects of High Speedroid Kendama once per turn. You can banish one machine type monster from your graveyard and inflict 500 damage to your opponent. And if this card is in your graveyard and you control no cards, you can special summon this card. You cannot normal summon or set during the turn you activate this effect. So yeah, this effect is the recovery effect is nice if you're completely losing and have nothing on the field. And yeah, burn damage out of nowhere, but still it's kind of admirable because you can set up your place for Chanbara if it gets destroyed or anything. But yeah, running this at 1 or 2 is really admirable. And their other boss monster is Clearwing Synchro Dragon, which is the 3rd dimension dragon we're featuring in this series so far. It's a level 7 with 2500 attack and 2000 defense, also generic. And once per turn, during either player's turn, when another level 5 or higher monster activates its effect on the field, you can negate the activation, and if you do, destroy it. Once per turn, during either player's turn, when a monster effect is activated that targets exactly one level 5 or higher monster on the field and no other cards, you can negate the activation, and if you do, destroy it. If this card's effect destroys a monster, this card gains attack equal to the destroyed monster's original attack until the end of this turn. So it's a double negation effect, which is awesome. However, two purely different activation conditions. But yeah, the attack boost can be sometimes really devastating. However, you won't be using it that much since the other effect will be used mostly on the opponent's turn. So yeah, the attack boost is kind of rendered pointless by that point. But still, running this at 3 is always nice, along with red-eye dice. Because combined together, like in the anime, they produce one of the most legendary synchro monsters of today's format, and that being the one and only Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon. A level 8 wind with 3000 attack and 2500 defense, and it requires one tuner and one or more non-tuner synchro monsters. So you have to use non-tuner synchro monsters for this one. And once per turn, when another monster's effect is activated, quick effect, you can negate the activation, and if you do, destroy that monster. And if you do that, this card gains attack equal to the destroyed monster's original attack until the end of this turn. If this card battles an opponent's level 5 or higher monster, during the damage calculation, this card gains attack equal to the current attack of the opponent's monster it's battling during that damage calculation only. Yes, this is real. This is a prime example of what a prime negation synchro monster should look like. Have amazing stats, attack drainage of honest effect, and negation that can even negate graveyard effects, which is really admirable nowadays. And it's clearly a staple for a very good reason. I'd say run 3 at all times if you can make room for 3 of these. We're not done with the extra deck monsters yet. We still have the retrain of Clearwing Synchro Dragon, that being Clearwing Fast Dragon, a Synchro Pendulum monster. It's a scale 4, and it has the same stats as the original monster. And Pendulum effect is you can send one face-up Speedroid tuner and one face-up non-tuner monster you control to the graveyard whose total level equals 7. Special summon this card from your Pendulum zone. You can only use this effect of Clearwing Fast Dragon once per turn. Monster effect, it requires one tuner, one or more non-tuner wind monsters, so this one's not generic. During either player's turn, you can target one face-up monster your opponent controls that was special summoned from the extra deck until the end of this turn. Change its attack to 0. Also, that face-up monster has its effects negated. You can only use this effect of clearing Fast Dragon once per turn. If this card in the monster zone is destroyed by a battle or card effect, you can place this card in the Pendulum zone. This card's floating effect kind of contradicts its Pendulum effect, since, yeah, you would most likely want to summon it using that methods, yeah. But yeah, still this is worth running, because zeroing out and negating effects is what we got out of Greedy Venom, and yeah, that's admirable here, along with a nice summoning condition to re-summon it, as it were. Run one or two of these, definitely. And our first spell card is High Speed Level. Banish one Speedroid monster from your graveyard, then target one synchro monster you control. Until the end of this turn, change its level to the banished monster's level, and it gains attack equal to that monster's level times 500. I actually don't know what they were thinking with this, because in most cases you will lower your monster's attack points. So yeah, I am not sure what this is supposed to mean, because yeah, unless you're banishing Skull Marbles, which is still a really questionable card to consider running. So yeah, that makes this card also a really questionable one to consider running. Their next spell card is Shock Surprise. Banish up to 2 Speedroid monsters from your graveyard and target that many cards on the field, destroy them. Well, it's certainly better than Pachinko card, but still, banishing your resources just to apply targeting removal. I know you can bring them back with Chanbara or something that fetches back banished stuff, but still. However, run at least one of these, because it can prove a decent removal at times. Their next spell card is Speed Recovery. Target one Speedroid monster in your graveyard, special summon it. During your main phase, except the turn this card was sent to the graveyard, you can banish this card from your graveyard and target one Speedroid monster in your graveyard, add it to your hand. So yeah, a resummon effect and a nice hand recovery. So yeah, this is pretty kick-ass. I'd say always run 3 of these, because yeah, it can prove nasty at times, especially if you're resummoning red-eye dice. And their final spell card is the OCG exclusive for now, which is the quick play spell Speed Drift. If you control exactly one tuner monster and no other monsters, you can special summon one level 4 or lower Speedroid monster from your deck, and when that monster is special summoned, cards or effects cannot be activated. I don't know. Yeah, maybe just maybe, if you manage to special summon a tuner, special summon this, the cards or effect cannot be activated, go into something, some of their boss monsters, and summon red-eye dice, go into Crystal Wing. Gimmicky card if I ever saw one, because you have to control exactly one tuner monster, but it can be any tuner. It is not limited to only Speedroids, so yeah, I'd say run it if you feel like it. Their semi-final card is their first trap card, Dice Roll Battle. When an opponent's monster declares an attack, target one Speedroid monster in your graveyard, banish both it and one Speedroid tuner monster in your hand. And if you do, special summon from extra deck one Speedroid monster whose level equals to the total original levels of those 2 monsters. During your opponent's battle step, you can banish this card from your graveyard, then target one face-up attack position with synchro monster on each side of the field. Make that face-up attack position monster your opponent controls attack that monster you control, and perform the damage calculation. So yeah, forcing people into the battle phase is neat, but it's only limited to synchro monsters. So yeah, a full-on gimmick card if I ever saw one, and a really gimmicky urgent tuning, so I run it if you feel like it again. And their final card is the trap card Redie Cycle. So target one Speedroid tuner monster in your graveyard, special summon it, but its effects are negated. Also roll a 6-sided die, and its level becomes at the result until the end of this turn. You can banish this card from your graveyard. Immediately after this card resolves, synchro summon one winged synchro monster using monsters you control, including a Speedroid tuner monster. Well, the decent target for this would be red-eye dice or tri-eye dice, but that's all there is to it. Also a gimmicky urgent tuning at best, but yeah, run it if you feel like it. Run it at 1 because it can actually save you from a direct attack at times. And we're done with Speedroids, yay! So it's actually one of my favorite synchro spammer archetypes, so let's give it some grades. Consistency. Even without outside archetype support, the consistency is never a problem here. There's overabundance of special summoning and normal summoning and searching upon those summons. So yeah, getting to your playmaker pieces is never a problem, so I'm gonna give it a 3 out of 3. Power, synchro monsters always, and yeah, those are not too hard to summon at all. Crystal Wing is a thing, so definite 3 out of 3. Comeback ability, these things can come back really easily from a beatdown, but if they have something that restricts them from using their cards properly, such as, I don't know, well, anything that blocks them from doing anything, they're pretty much stranded. So I'm gonna give him a 2 out of 3 because it's not the best comeback ability. They can come back, but it's not the best one there is. Protection, Crystal Wing's protection is always really nice, and he is really easy to summon within this archetype. So, but still, he doesn't protect from spell or trap effects, but Stardust Dragon is always there to back you up when you need it, so I'm gonna give it a 2 out of 3 as well. And as for the versatility, a big 3 out of 3. Terror Top and Takitonburg are really splashable, such as Red Eye Dice. They're really splashable in almost anything, and they can go well together with Wind Witches. Again, yeah, I paired up Yugo and Rin today, so yeah. This is a really nice archetype, and I would like to see more support after Speedrift, so yeah. And officially I've paired up every U-Boy and Bracelet Girl, and there's only one pairing left, those being the main protagonist of Arc 5 and the main female lead. I might do Melodious one day in the second season, but I'm not too sure about Performapals because there are so many of them. Who's gonna win? Who's gonna watch an hour and a half long video about Performapals? Yeah, but anyway, we are done with season 1 of this awesome series, so until when I make 16 videos about School of the OTK, which I really should be getting into now, season 2 of this will start. But yeah, thank you all so much for watching. Stay tuned for more results and updates, comment, like, and subscribe, and as usual, I'll upload the next part whenever I can. See you all, have a good day, and peace.